Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Center for Latin American Studies at the University of Chicago, I want to welcome you to the 2020-2021 academic year. I'm Claudia Brittenham, Associate Professor of Art History and Director of the Center for Latin American Studies. In any other year, in just another week or two, we'd be gathering on campus to celebrate our opening reception, to say hello to old friends and meet new students and colleagues, and talk together about our shared interests in Latin America. How I wish that we could gather that way this year, just like I wish that we'd be able to sit across a table from one another, exchange ideas in a seminar room, or listen to a lecture together. Unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, all of these events are going to have to be remote. But what I want to assure you is that the Center for Latin American Studies is still here, even if here is a virtual place. And we remain committed to supporting you in your research in and on Latin America. Whether it is helping facilitate your research on Latin American topics, or fostering connections with Latin American institutions, or thinking about the way that really Latin America is a global phenomenon, the Center for Latin American Studies wants to be here to help. Stay tuned for all of the great programming that we have lined up this year. But please, in addition, reach out if there's any way that we can support you individually or as in a group with your research. Or conversely, if you've got any ideas for programming that we can help you develop. Even though everyone is going to be remote this year, we're going to need to take a little bit more effort to build the kind of community that happens just through hallway conversations and chance meetings in the quad. That kind of serendipity may not be so easy to find this year. But I think that if we all reach out together to create that sense of community and connection, we will have the very best year that we can. In the rest of this video, the rest of the team at the Center for Latin American Studies are going to introduce themselves and describe what their role is in facilitating our connections in this most unusual year. But let's all do the best that we can to stay focused and just make it through this next year together. Okay, take care, everyone.
I'm Diana Schwartz-Francisco, Assistant Instructional Professor and Program Advisor at the Center for Latin American Studies. I'm a historian of modern Latin America, and I teach courses in Latin American and Caribbean studies for both undergraduate and graduate students that cover topics such as indigenous politics in the region, development in the environment, food politics and biodiversity, and the relationships between Latin America and Latinx America, just to name a few. As program advisor, I support students in our undergraduate and graduate programs and oversee various aspects of curricular and co-curricular programming. I work with all of our students to curate a course plan that both satisfies their requirements and also provides them with the breadth and depth of knowledge as well as skill that has earned our program such great recognition. In addition to teaching and advising undergrads, I also work with graduate students across the university who pursue our certificate or option in Latin American and Caribbean studies. I see myself as a teacher, a scholar, and ultimately as a resource for students interested in learning about the region and its people, including the Latinx diaspora in the United States and beyond. And to that end, my advising work at CLAS includes facilitating co-curricular engagement that connects our students to institutions and organizations doing real-time work of relevance to the region and its people, broadly conceived. Some of those experiences include internships with community-based organizations that serve and advocate alongside Latinx populations in Chicago or other populations in Brazil and Mexico, for example. I'm always delighted to meet with students to discuss any of the opportunities and support that we at CLAS can provide for you, both during your time at UChicago and beyond. Always feel free to write to me or to set up an advising appointment on my calendar, which is accessible through the CLAS website. Take care, and I greatly look forward to meeting with you.
I'm Natalie Arsenault, Associate Director at the Center for Latin American Studies. I'm a Latin Americanist myself. I have an MA in Latin American Studies with a focus on Brazil from the University of Florida. I've been working in Latin American Studies for 20 years and have been at the University of Chicago for 7 years now. As Associate Director, I manage the operations of the center. I'm responsible for the center's program planning and design, policymaking, budget, and staff supervision. Much of my work is behind the scenes, but I have a hand in all of our activities at CLAS, including support for faculty and visiting professors, academic programs, student funding, and events. I work on things like the Tinker Visiting Professor program, through which we bring 3 to 4 preeminent scholars from Latin America to teach on campus every year. Changes and updates to our undergraduate and graduate curriculum, including our new graduate certificate, which we launched with the provost's approval last year. Travel grants. I work with Lindsay to implement the Tinker Field Research Grant and Mellon Research Travel Grant programs, which allow students across disciplines to do fieldwork in the region. And public events. You'll see me at all CLAS events during the year as I coordinate with faculty and students on an active series of lectures, film screenings, and more, with invited guests from the US and Latin America. CLAS has a small, close-knit staff. If you have a question and don't know where to start, feel free to come to me. I can answer it or I can point you in the right direction. We know that this is going to be an unusual year, but we at CLAS will do our best to stay connected. We'll have regular drop-in office hours, and we're also happy to schedule individual meetings if you have specific questions or you want to suggest activities. We'll also continue to create and share content through our website, blog, podcast, and social media. We hope that you'll keep in touch with us throughout the year, as we're here to help foster a sense of community among all those on campus who are interested in Latin America.
Hi, I'm Lindsay, Student Affairs Coordinator at the Center for Latin American Studies. At the center, I work closely with students to ensure that they're on track to meet the requirements for the major, the minor, and now the graduate certificate in Latin American and Caribbean Studies. I also handle all of our course listings. This could be listing new courses, modifying existing courses, and working with students to determine which courses will be offered in future quarters. At CLAS, we usually hold a number of events on campus. However, this year, because we're starting remotely, we've decided to move our events online. We'll be offering a 3-part webinar on the use of GIS and field research throughout Latin America. More information will come out about this webinar series as the quarter begins. Please make sure that you're on our mailing list so you can get all of the updates at CLAS. This promises to be an academic year like none other. I just want to let you know that I'm here if you need to reach out via email, phone, or Zoom call for any support or assistance. I hope you have a great quarter. Good luck.